Okay, good morning. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, for the UT, till what I am taking today, that will be included for the UT portion. Till today's lecture, it will be there. So that means the first and the second module will be there for the UT one. So today I'll be taking one new topic in the second module, that is inverse Z transform. Okay, Z transform we have solved few numericals, properties we have seen. Now inverse Z transform, that also will be there for the UT. Okay, so this is the solution for the last SP test on Z transform, finding the Z transform for the signal x of n equal to a raised to n plus 1 into u of n plus 1. This most of you have done it wrong. So you can see the solution. This is a case of shifting, time shifting. Okay, both are n plus 1. It is time shifted by n plus 1. So we will be multiplying the Z transform, that is a raised to n u of n. The Z transform is Z upon Z minus a. So for the shifted signal, it will be Z raised to how much shifting is there. So here it is n plus 1 it is. So Z raised to 1. So Z into Z upon Z minus a is the solution for this. The next one is finding the Z transform of the ramp function x of n equal to n of u of n. So anything, the signal, unit step signal multiplied by n. So that signal in the Z transform will be converted into n into u of n will be converted into the differentiation. So Z transform of x of n will be equal to minus z d by dz. This is the properties of Z transform. Okay, multiplication of the signal by n will be differentiation in the Z plane. That is the properties used. So using that property, you can directly write Z transform of x of n as minus z d by dz of x of z. Okay, so x of z of the signal u of n. Okay, the Z transform of the signal u of n is z upon z minus 1. Now apply the differentiation, that is minus z into d by dz of x of z, which is the z upon z minus 1. So you will get it as z upon z minus 1 square. Now next case is instead of n it is n square. So if n square comes, you have to do double differentiation. Okay, the same property only, but you have to do depending upon the power of n, that many times you have to do the differentiation. The power of differentiation also will increase accordingly. So here it will be minus z into d by dz raised to square, because here it is n square. So differentiation also will be squared into x of z. So x of z is the Z transform of unit step signal, which is u of n, which is z upon z minus a only. Z upon z minus 1. Okay, so applying that, so in order to do the double differentiation, first you apply the first differentiation of the signal, that is minus z into d by dz of x of z, which you already done in the previous step. So you can take out that answer and replace it here, which is z upon z minus 1 square. Now do the again differentiation of this term, then finally you will be getting z into z plus 1 upon z minus 1 cube. So only one student got this answer, I think, one or two students. Okay, rest all have made. This is only simple differentiation. Now coming on to the topics in that chapter, this properties, finding out the initial value and the final value of the x of z. This property we have mentioned earlier, we have seen earlier. So how to find the initial value of x of z? Okay, initial and the final value of the signal, which is whose z transform is x of z. So the formula for finding the initial value of the signal is x of 0 is equal to limit, apply that z tends to infinity x of z. So x of z is given in the question as 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 2. So z raised to minus 2, for z you replace it as infinity. So 1 upon infinity, because z raised to minus 2 can be written as 1 upon z square. So if z I replace as infinity, then 1 upon infinity will be how much? 1 upon infinity will be how much? What is 1 divided by infinity?
0.
0. So the other term z raised to minus 2 terms will become 0. So you are left out with 1 upon 1, which is 1. So the initial value of the signal is 1. Next is to find the final value of the signal. So what is the formula for that? Here the formula is limit z tends to 1 minus z inverse into x of z. Okay, limit z tends to 1 minus z inverse into x of z. So substitute for x of z, which is given in the question as 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 2. Now I am going to expand this. I can write it is a square minus b square form. In that it is written. So I can write it as a plus b into a minus b. So I expand it as 1 minus z inverse into 1 plus z inverse. So 1 minus z inverse will get cancelled. So you will be left out with 1 upon 1 plus z inverse. So in that you put z as 1. So you will get 1 plus 1 is 2. So x of infinity is half. So this is the way you have to find the initial and the final value of the given signal with the help of the Z transform of the signal. Now let us see few more examples on the Z transform. So consider a Z transform. Okay, the Z transform is not mentioned here, only the pole pattern we will see, and accordingly we will see the find out the ROC and how the signal will be. By looking at the pole location, we can identify the ROC of the signal, and we can identify whether the signal is right sided signal or left sided signal, or I can say causal or non-causal signal, or whether it is a two-sided signal by looking at the pole pattern. Okay, from where you will get the pole pattern? From the Z transform equation. Okay, the Z transform of the signal can be expressed as a ratio of numerator and denominator. So on the numerator I will get the information about the zeros, and from the denominator I will get the information about the poles. Okay, so that is the rational Z transform. It is numerator divided by denominator. That terms can be considered as a rational Z transform, and by looking at the denominator we can identify the pole pattern of the signal. Okay, so let us take the case here. In the Z plane you can see three poles are located, A, B and C. Okay, and if how to find the possible region of convergence for this signal. Let us take the first case for a right-sided sequence. So can anyone tell for a right-sided sequence how the ROC should be? A, B and C are the three poles of a particular function. A, B and C are the three poles, and for a right-sided sequence, suppose the sequence or the signal is right-sided, then how should be the region of convergence for such a signal? Whether the region of convergence should be greater than A, greater than B, greater than C, or it should be less than A, less than B, less than C, how it should be? Let it be wrong. You speak out how what you understood from that. You tell me, so I can make out how much you understood. Anyone? Should I call out the names? Gaurav, Gaurav,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
yes, we have already studied this causal, non-causal signal earlier for infinite and finite signal. A region of convergence also we have studied it earlier only. The same thing only applied here, but we are looking at from a different angle. That means from that in terms of poles. Okay, so the same thing only is here, but I am mentioning in terms of poles here. So do you have any guess regarding this? How the region of convergence for this particular signal, which has three poles A, B and C, whether it should be greater than A, B, C, or whether it should be less than A, B or C? No idea.
No, ma'am.
No idea. Okay. So we have studied it earlier that for a right-sided signal, the region of convergence is always greater than the a circle with radius r, that we have studied earlier. The region of convergence for a right-sided signal is greater than that of the circle with radius r, whereas for a left-sided sequence, the region of convergence will be always less than the circle with radius r. Okay, or otherwise I can tell for a right-sided sequence, the region of convergence is exterior of the circle with radius r, and for a left-sided sequence, the region of convergence is interior of the circle with radius r. Okay, so there we have mentioned only a single radius. Okay, so that means there I have mentioned that the signal, the Z transform is having only a single pole. But in this case, you can see there are three poles, A, B and C. There are three poles are there. Then how we will identify? Anyway, one thing is you can make sure it is always greater than the circle with radius r. Okay, it will be never less than, because it is a right-sided sequence. So region of convergence will be greater than the poles. So which pole, whether it should be greater than A pole or B pole or C pole. Okay, so ROC is always exterior of the circle with radius C, where Z equal to C is the largest pole in X of Z. That means for a right-sided sequence which is having more than one poles, then the region of convergence will be always greater than, should be always greater than the highest pole. Then only X of Z will converge, or X of Z will exist. Otherwise, the X of Z will not converge. Okay. So ROC is the exterior of the circle with radius C, where Z equal to C is the largest pole in X of Z. So you can see in the diagram that shaded area, which is exterior of the circle with radius C, or exterior of the pole C. Now all of you understood? Are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Bhavesh is there? Bhavesh? Bhavesh? Can you reply? Okay, so not present only. Next case is consider the rational Z transform with pole pattern. Again, same poles only, A, B and C, same pole, but it is a left-sided sequence. Now can you tell what will be the region of convergence for such signal?
Interior of the innermost circle.
Interior of?
Innermost circle. Radius of.
Inner. That is the smallest pole, which is A. So it will be the interior of circle with radius a, where z equal to a is the smallest pole in x of z. Okay. Now the third case is two-sided sequence, which is having right hand side also sequence exists, left hand side also sequence exists. So for such signal, ROC is a ring in the z plane. Okay. Or sometimes the ROC does not, the region z transform does not exist also. There can come a case like that also, that is ROC does not exist. That means for the given signal, Z transform does not exist at all. Can you tell what will be such case for a two-sided sequence? It can happen, the ROC will not exist. One case is when it exists, then ROC is a ring in the Z plane. That means how you will tell? Z should be greater than A and Z should be less than B. Okay, then only that intersection will happen and that common area you will get, okay, of the region of convergence. That is, for one signal, the Z transform, that is the region of convergence is greater than A, and for the second part of the signal, the region of convergence should be less than B, then the intersection of both, then it comes like a ring in the Z plane. Now can you tell what can be the case in which the region of convergence does not exist? Any idea? If it happens like the region of convergence, it is coming like that, B, Z is greater than B and Z is less than A. Z is greater than B and Z is less than A. That means in that particular case, there is no common region coming into picture. Okay, here how the region came, because Z less than B and Z greater than A. Okay, so that is why that intersection region you got. So other case it can come like Z greater than B and Z less than A. So in that case we don't have a common area. So for such case Z transform does not exist at all. So the same thing, another two-sided sequence can be is greater than B and less than C. Okay, so two things are possible, two sequence are possible in the same pattern. Now these are the Z transform we were doing till now. Like for a sequence delta n, the Z transform will be 1. The region of convergence will be the entire Z plane. Now del of n minus m, it is a case of shifted signal. So it will be Z raised to minus m. So region of convergence is entire Z plane except 0 if m is greater than 0, or at infinity also if m is less than 0. Now for a step signal, the Z transform is 1 upon 1 minus 1 upon Z, where region of convergence is greater than 1. Now for a folded time shifted step signal, it is Z transform will be same, but you can see the region of convergence is different. ROC is less than 1. Now for a raised to n u of n, it is 1 upon 1 upon 1 minus a z inverse, where z is greater than a, and you can see minus a raised to n u of minus n minus 1. The z transform is same only, 1 upon 1 minus a z inverse, but z is less than a is the region of convergence. Similarly, for different sequence, these are the region of convergence and the Z transform. So these are the finite duration signal and infinite duration signal. We have derived all these things earlier also. Now these are the some common Z transform pairs which just now we have seen. It is the summary of that. Now let us come to the inverse Z transform. Okay, inverse Z transform of the signal. That means if the Z transform of the signal is given, how to obtain the original sequence. Okay, after doing all these, why we are coming to the Z plane? Because of we can convert the signal into, we can represent the signal in the algebraic equation mode. Then all the process will be easy with the help of that algebraic equations. Then we have to revert back to your original signal. Okay, so for that we need to apply the inverse Z transform. So to obtain the time signal x of n from the Z transform of the signal x of z, so that is Z inverse of x of z. So how you obtain x of n? By applying Z inverse to the x of z. So there are three methods available: residue method, partial fraction expansion, power series expansion. Only one method you need to study, which is the simplest one, partial fraction expansion method. So let us see that method, partial fraction expansion. Now x of z is represented as a rational function n of z by d of z, okay, which contains a numerator and a denominator. X of z contains a numerator and a denominator in terms of z. What you have to do first, divide both sides of the equation by z. So if you divide it by z on both sides, you will get x of z by z on the left hand side. On the right hand side, the denominator will be multiplied with z. So let us redefine the numerator as n of z by z. You are taking it as q of z. Just for derivation purpose, we are just renaming the numerator as n of z by z as q of z. Now, on factorizing the denominator, here one thing is missing, x of z by z it is. X of z by z is equal to q of z, denominator you factorize z minus p1 into z minus p2 into up to z minus pm, where what is this p1, p2 and all are the roots of the denominator, as well as I can tell these are the poles of the x of z. Okay. Everywhere the same mistake is same. Now by partial fraction expansion, what I can write on the right hand side, I can write it as a1 by z minus p1 by partial fraction method. You can write it as a1 by z minus p1 plus a2 by z minus p2 plus up to an by z minus pn. Okay, so after partial fraction you will obtain a1, a2 and an. Now you can take the z to the right hand side, z which is there on the left hand side, that is x of z by z, that z can be taken to the right hand side. So it will become now on the right hand side a1 into z upon z minus p1 plus a2 into z upon z minus p2 up to an into z upon z minus pn. Now Z transform how you can obtain by comparing each term with standard Z transform pairs. I have just shown you the table for the Z transform. From that table you can refer and find out this, what is Z upon Z minus P1 corresponds to which signal, which sequence. So there you can apply that and you can obtain the x of n. Okay. Now let us take an example and do. So to find the inverse Z transform by partial fraction expansion method, the given x of z is 3 plus 2z inverse plus z raised to minus 2 divided by 1 minus 3z inverse plus 2z raised to minus 2. So first what we will take, z raised to minus 2. First you take common out from numerator and denominator. Take z raised to minus 2 common out from the numerator and the denominator. So if I take common out, the equation will change. Now 3z square plus 2z plus 1, because z raised to minus 2, if you take it out, there it will be 1. Now z inverse from that, if I take z raised to minus 2, it will be z only, isn't it? When you multiply directly, you can see z minus 2 into z, it is z minus 1. So that way you take z minus 2 common from each term, from the numerator as well as from the denominator. So that will get cancelled. The common thing from the numerator and denominator will get cancelled. And let us factorize the denominator. Factorizing the denominator of x of z, you will get z minus 1 into z minus 2 in the denominator. Now we will divide. This is our step for the partial fraction method. First step is dividing the both sides of the equation by z. So divide x of z by z, and on the right hand side also divide it by z. Now I can write it as in the partial fraction, that is a1 by z plus a2 by z minus 1 plus a3 by z minus 2. Now let us find out each term a1, a2 and a3. For that, how you obtain a1? a1 is equal to z into x of z by z. Put z equal to 0 in that. So substitute z into x of z by z, which is your equation 3z square plus 2z plus 1 divided by z into z minus 1 into z minus 2. In that you apply the condition z equal to 0. So after putting that, you are getting a1 as half. Similarly, by partial fraction method, this second case will be z minus 1 into x of z by z. There you put z as 1, you will obtain a2 as minus 6. Third case is a3 will be equal to z minus 2 into x of z by z. There you put z as 2, you will obtain 17 by 2. So you got a1, a2, a3 as half, minus 6 and 17 by 2. Substitute in that x of z by z. If you substitute a1, a2 and a3, you will obtain this equation. Now what is the next step? You have to take z to the other side. Taking z to the other side, you will get this equation. Now let us compare this equation with the general Z transform pairs. So what is z upon z minus 1? Can anyone tell? What is z upon z minus 1?
U of n.
Yes, u of n. Then z upon z minus 2. It is of the form z upon z minus 8.
2 raised to n.
Sorry, repeat.
2 raised to n u of n.
Yes, correct. So x of n will be, the first term will be a constant. So it is del of n. For a constant, its z transform is for the del of n, the z transform is 1. So first one is a constant. So half of del of n minus 6 into u of n plus 17 by 2. It is 2 raised to n u of n. So this is how we will take the inverse Z transform. Okay. So let us see one more example also. Determine the Z transform for the inverse Z transform for the given signal. There are three conditions, three cases given. Z greater than 1, Z less than 0.5, then Z lies between 0.5 and 1. So first case is the pole should be greater than 1. So it is a case of right-sided or left-sided signal. Greater than region of convergence, greater than a pole will be the case of a right-sided or left-sided signal.
Right-sided.
Right-sided. Second case is a left-sided. Third case is a What about third case?
Both
Aniket?
side. Yeah.
Both sides will be there, left side and the right side. So let us first find out the inverse Z transform, that is Z square upon Z square minus 1.5 x Z plus 0.5. So x of Z by Z. Okay, that equation is wrong actually. This is your actual equation is different. So this is the equation, that is 1 upon 1 minus 1.5 Z inverse plus 0.5 Z square. So what is the first step you will do? What is the first step you will do? You have to take Z minus 2 from the denominator out. Taking Z raised to minus 2 from the denominator. So what will happen here? If you take Z raised to minus 2 common from the denominator, you will get here outside it will be Z raised to minus 2 . Then here how much it will be? If I take Z minus 2 common from the first term, there how much it will be? It will be Z raised to minus 2. Now here if I take Z raised to minus 2 common out, how much will be there? It will be Z, and from here Z minus 2 I have taken common out. So this will be like this. Okay. Now Z square that I am taking to the denominator. So I can take this to denominator, that is Z raised to minus 2. I am taking to the numerator. This will be minus will change to plus. So what I did here, Z raised to minus 2 common, I took it out in the denominator. So the equations will change to Z raised to minus 2 minus 1.5 Z plus 0.5 Z square. I have taken the denominator term to the numerator, so it will be Z square upon Z raised to minus 2 minus 1.5 Z plus 0.5. Now I
Ma'am,
can, yes,
in the denominator it should be Z square minus 1.5 Z, right?
denominator it should be, it is
Because
not minus, it is plus, correct, it is Z square. Correct. Now here if I now divide by both sides by Z, what will happen here? Z square will change to Z only, isn't it? both sides of the equation I am dividing by z. So if I divide here by z, z square, one term will get cancelled and you are left out with this. Okay. So it will be now x of z by z is equal to z upon, you are factorizing the denominator. So it will be z minus 1 into z minus 0.5. Now you write it in the partial fraction expansion method, a1 by z minus 1 plus a2 by z minus 0.5. Now find out a1 and a2. Find out a1 and a2. So a1 will be a1 will be z minus 1 into x of z by z. So put z as 1, you will get it as 2. First term will be how much? A1 will be how much? A1 will be how much? Is it 2? Okay, A2 is, we are getting it as minus 1. So substitute for A1 and A2, that is 2 by z minus 1, minus 1 upon z minus 0.5. Take z to the other side. So it will be 2 into z upon z minus 1 minus z upon z minus 0.5. Now, can you now tell the first case, that is, here what I did, condition is given that ROC, in terms of ROC, the condition is given, first case is ROC should be greater than 1. So we have to rearrange the equation in that form to identify the ROC of the signal. So what I did here, I divided by z on the numerator and the denominator of each term, so that I will get it of the form 1 upon 1 minus z inverse for the first case, other case 1 upon 1 minus 0.5 into z inverse. So ROC for the first case is given is that the z should be greater than 1. Now can you look at the equation of x of z and can you tell what are the poles of the equation? What are the poles of the equation? What are the poles of the equation? How you obtain the poles? How you obtain the poles? Denominator, we have x of z can be expressed as rational function p of z, numerator by denominator. Okay, so denominator each term which is in terms of z, if we equate to 0, I will obtain the poles of the equation. So we have here z minus 1 and z minus 0.5. So equate to 0 each term, then you will get the z value as 1 and 0.5. So 1 and 0.5 are the poles of the equation x of z. Okay, 1 and 0.5. So first case given is ROC should be greater than 1. So out of 1 and 0.5, which is the highest pole? Which is the highest pole?
1.
Aniket, 1. Okay, so that is, I can tell the region of convergence, the given condition is that the region of convergence should be greater than the highest pole. So it is the case of a right-sided signal. So you have to obtain the inverse Z transform for a right-sided sequence. Okay, that also you have to keep it in mind. Even though the Z transform for, let us go back and see that table. Then things will be more clear. Yes. Come here, you can see for u of n as well as minus u of minus n minus 1, the Z transform is both are same. But The region of convergence is different depending upon whether it is a right-sided signal or a left-sided signal. Okay, so similar way, when I get the inverse Z transform, if any condition is mentioned, like here the condition is mentioned is first case, the region of convergence should be greater than 1. That means the highest pole. So Z is, yes. Yes, what is the doubt? So Z is greater than 1. So let us take a raised to n u of n. The Z transform is 1 upon 1 minus a Z inverse. The region of convergence is greater than a. Okay, that means for a term 1 upon 1 minus a Z inverse, and if the region of convergence is given as Z greater than a, then the corresponding signal is a raised to n u of n. So in this case, the sequence is causal for ROC greater than A. So let us take our equation in which given ROC is Z greater than 1. This is the condition given. So the sequence has to be a right-sided sequence with what are the two poles, one at 0.5 and other at 1. So the ROC lies outside the highest pole. Hence the given sequence is causal in nature. So how to obtain the signal? By applying the Z transform, you can write the signal as 2 into 1 raised to n u of n, or you can write it as u of n minus 0.5 raised to n u of n, since it is the case of a right-sided sequence, because the given ROC is greater than 1, so it will be a right-sided sequence. Okay, now let us take the second condition, Z less than 0.5. So it is the case of a left-sided signal. So given ROC is less than the smallest pole. We have two poles, 1 and 0.5. Given it should be less than the smallest pole. So it is the case of a anti-causal or non-causal signal. So we have the Z transform for how you obtain. Let us take the Z transform pair, that is minus a raised to n u of minus n minus 1 is 1 upon 1 minus a Z inverse. Z transform will be same, but ROC is less than a. So let us write the signal now as minus 2 into 1 raised to n u of minus n minus 1. Then second case, the pole is 0.5. So 0.5 raised to n u of minus n minus 1. So here minus came, minus of minus. That is why the equation became plus here. Now the third case is it lies between. So it is the case of a two-sided signal. So we should have an ROC between the region 0.5 and 1. So that means Z should be greater than 0.5 and Z should be less than 1. That means the signal will be the portion of the signal will be right-sided for Z greater than 0.5, and portion of the signal will be left-sided for Z less than 1. So separately we have to write it. So that is minus 2, 1 raised to n u of minus n minus 1. That is the case where it is less than 1. Where the pole is less than 1, that will be a left-sided portion. Okay, this is your left-sided portion, and the right-sided portion is 0.5 raised to n u of n, because right-sided means Z greater than 0.5. Any doubt in this portion? It is there. Should I have to repeat it again? Ayush, whether you are able to follow? Ayush?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let us solve a mole test.